Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story: When Groups Go Wild, the chaos and frustration of a difficult hotel booking. The second story: Showdown at the gas station, the banishment of the scamming customer. The third story: the twisted tale of betrayal, deceit, and revenge in the .com world. The first story is: Groups suck sometimes. I'm still mad about this, and it was a week ago. I haven't been in the hotel business for very long compared to a lot of people, about 2.5 years, but I feel like I've seen a lot of different situations, having worked in 2 very different hotels in that time. Sometimes there's nothing you can do to please a difficult group, but it still agitates me knowing that I probably could have done something differently or better, and maybe it would have ended in a better light than it did. Last Thursday, we had a massive group. For us, about a third of our rooms checking in. A lot of them booked several rooms under one name, and didn't tell anyone who was going to be in these rooms. Someone would come to check in, and we wouldn't have their name listed, so they would try several other names before we told them that they needed to figure out who booked their room, and have them come talk to us. At one point, both myself and my colleague had a group of 9 people in front of us, trying to sort everything out. And of course, once we figured out who belonged where, we realized that the biggest cause of confusion was they were short a room. Side note, we found out at the end of the night that they were not actually short a room. In fact, the missing room was under a different person's name entirely, and we only found this out because the credit cards holding them were the same. On top of sorting out this mess, they were also extremely demanding. X has to be near Y, and they cannot be near the elevator, etc. We did our best to meet their requests, but of course a lot just couldn't be done due to other occupancies and room layouts, and they were upset about that. Before she had left for an appointment, my AGM had let me know that the meeting room was completely set up for them according to their contract, and it was already opened up for them. There shouldn't be any issues as she set it up for them personally. Well, of course, there were issues, but not on our end. While I'm in the middle of a check-in, the main contact, MC, for the group, starts trying to get my attention because the door is locked. I told her I would come over as soon as I could, and right at that moment the phones started ringing and more of her group arrived to check in. It was chaos for about 10 minutes. Right as I go to grab the keys to see what was going on, MC comes to yell at me that she already asked for my help. Why wasn't I coming? I apologized and said I was on my way. I grab the meeting room keys and walk up to the door, to see it was open and they were already in there. Me: I'm sorry, I thought you said the door was locked. MC: it is. Me, clearly staring through the doors and at the people bustling around. But I see that you guys are already in here setting up. MC: no, not these doors. Leads me to a storage closet in the meeting room. These doors, we need them open. Me: I'm sorry, I can't get into the storage room. It's locked under a manager's key, and she's not in at the moment. MC: well, where are we supposed to put all these chairs? Me: was there an issue with the setup in here? The manager said that she had set this up completely according to your contract and... MC: well, we just like to change things up a bit when we get in, you know? I spent a few minutes trying to explain to her that I simply cannot get into this storage room. No, she could not leave the chairs in the lobby area. Could she leave the extra chairs along the back wall so they're out of her way? I can let the manager know she wants the room set up differently in the morning. No, there wouldn't be enough space if she did that. For the record, I theoretically could have gotten in that storage room as I knew where the key was. I'm not supposed to, but you know. But the room is deceptively small, and I knew that most of the chairs that they got for this group was from outside storage, not from this storage closet. I had no idea what would be behind those doors if I opened it, so I wasn't going to, and she did not need to know that. I texted my AGM directly after the encounter, with MC mostly just to let her know how amusing it was, that she expected us to double work, even though MC had picked the original layout of the room. The AGM decided to come back in after her appointment to talk to MC directly, and figured out some short-term solution before the main portion of their meeting the next day. Another argument I had with a member of this group was an entitled lady, EL. She was actually listed as a secondary name on a room, thank goodness. And put her card down for the room with no argument. Actually quite shocking. She had mentioned while she was checking in that this was her first time ever sharing a room with someone. It was going to be so weird, and she's only ever stayed in beautiful suites before, so this was going to be odd. After making it up to the room, EL called down and complained about the size of the room. EL. This is way too small for me to stay in. I must stay in a larger room. Me. I'm sorry you feel this way, but the group only blocked out standard rooms for you guys. EL. I don't care. I will pay for the upgrade if I have to. Me. Well, I'll have to contact the person who made your reservation before I can do that. EL. Why? I put my card down. We will split the cost differently. I cannot stay here. Me. As I was about to say, we do not have double bed suites. We only have king bed suites. Although there are technically 2 beds, you two would either have to share a king bed, or one of you would have to sleep on the pull-out couch, and I would need a confirmation from your roommate before I would make that change. EL. You don't have suites with 2 beds? Me. No, ma'am, I'm sorry. Alternatively, you could... EL. This is ridiculous. I can't believe anyone would share a room this small. Click. Oh well, I was gonna let her know I wasn't sold out for the night, and she was more than welcome to get her own room. If she must, but she hung up too quickly. Later in the night, maybe around 8:30 p.m. or so, EL came up to the desk with another lady I didn't recognize B, but apparently she must have had something to argue with me about during her check-in. I smile at everyone as they approach the desk. I like to think that I'm extremely welcoming until you give me a reason not to be. But even then, sometimes I use the kill them with kindness approach. So as I usually do, I smile at them as they approach the counter and ask what I could do for them. B. Oh, so you do smile. I was so taken aback. I could feel my smile drop off my face. I really couldn't remember the interaction I had with this woman. I didn't even recognize her. Thankfully, I didn't have to come up with a response, because EL quickly took over the conversation. I wish she didn't. EL. So, I wanted to know, if I go buy a fire pit, can I put it in your courtyard? Me, still in extreme shock. What? EL. I'm going to buy a fire pit. I'm going to put it in your courtyard. Me. No, ma'am. You cannot put a fire pit in our courtyard. EL. Why not? I was at same sub-brand in some large city hundreds of miles away, and they already had a fire pit. You're the same. What does it matter? I launched into a short explanation that we're not owned by the same people, that we have a property management company, and are most certainly not the same besides the name. She scoffed at me and walked away. Thankfully, I did not see a fire pit appear in our courtyard. The next day, when I walked in for my shift, my AGM pulled me aside so I could tell the GM about my experiences with the group the night before. I told him everything I've already mentioned here, as well as a few less exciting stories that really portrayed how awful they were. For the most part, my day went on as normal, except for several instances of the whole group screaming while in their meeting room for about 5 minutes before stopping. Several incoming guests heard and said to us, "Well, I normally ask for a ground floor room, but any chance you have anything higher?" It was at this point that we had collectively decided that this group was not going to be allowed to book with us again. Not a single staff member at my hotel had a halfway decent interaction with this group. Housekeeping was denied access to several rooms that requested service, and then those same rooms complained they didn't have clean towels. Maintenance was borderline harassed while working in the hallways. The breakfast attendants said that not a single one of them said please or thank you, and that most of them bossed them around like servants. After the group left, the MC and her husband each put in separate corporate complaints about me and my AGM. My AGM for being rude and not helpful. Me for being rude and also having terrible customer service, with a sprinkle of discrimination cries because why not? Thankfully, those are going nowhere. Edited to add, it was a religious group. They also brought musical instruments they didn't tell the sales team or the AGM about. The screaming was them singing. I'm not sure if that makes the story worse or better. The second story is, finally got to ban someone. This happens at a gas station I worked at a couple years ago. I was currently working 2 jobs. One as a server, so it made me very happy I could finally get a small revenge. We had a really crappy pizza chain in it, but we had a cook that also prepared several fried foods and sandwiches, which were cheap and pretty good. Those were made ahead and put in a hot case. Cook worked set hours and days with me since we were the most senior employees and she really prided herself on making good food. Fresh fried food every 30 minutes, and the old stuff would be set back for employees to eat. The gas station had also had several people trying to get free food. The manager told us unless they could prove they got it, no free food. On this particular day, we had a white trash customer, hereby known as WTC. His wife, and kids come in. WTC has a smirk on his face. Wife is looking rather embarrassed, and his kids are running wild. WTC. Yeah, I came in here last Wednesday and ordered a sandwich, fries, and some other things from your case, and it was cold and hard. Me. I know he's lying. I worked Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. every week. Perk of being a great worker. We also operated out of a very small town that I had lived in for over a decade. If someone came in that I didn't know by name, they stuck out. Oh, can you tell me what kind of sandwich it was? WTC. It was a sandwich we don't carry. Me. I'm sorry, sir, but we don't carry that sandwich here. Do you have the wrong store? WCC. No, it was definitely here. The food was inedible, it was so hard. Me. Well, do you have the receipt? I can't refund you unless you have the receipt. WTC. No, I don't. It was over a week ago. Just replace the food for me. Me. Well, I'll have to call the manager for that. Call the manager, get told to not give him free food, and if he becomes belligerent, to ban him from the store. Me. The manager said without a receipt there's nothing we can do. Why didn't you call back when it happened to let them know about the food? WTC. This is BS. I got hard food I couldn't eat. He rants on for a few minutes. I forget what he said. Me. I can't give you free food. If you'd like to purchase food, I can sell it to you. Otherwise, you're gonna have to leave the store. WTC and Brood finally leave the store. A few hours later, I see them pull back in. Wife comes in. Me. If you're here to buy something, I'll serve you, but otherwise you need to leave. Wife buys food from the hot case and drinks. Wife. I'm sorry about earlier. My husband told me when we came in that he could get free food from you if he complained. Me. Ugh. Luckily, I never saw them again. The third story is, punished my idiot coworker who tried to fire me. This is a true story, I absolutely swear. It's also past any statute of limitations and probably before any real laws existed in any form, so had a jerkwad that started at a failing.com with me. Within the first week, he decided he wanted to fire me, even though he had no idea what I did, etc., etc., etc. I was actually the only person IT at this point and was probably one of the more productive people in the entire building. He told me I had a week to turn things around or I was gone. First of all, there was no explanation as to what needed to be turned around or what in particular was wrong. My assumption is that he had his own guy he wanted to bring in, etc. I basically told him to shove it up his A, and if he didn't like it, I'd walk right there. He was a bit taken back by that, and after another 9 months of being there, he was not quite a jerk, but still a jerk. Fast forward another 3 months and we decided we were going to fire him. The decision was based on information I had provided to them in regards to his lack of performance and wasting of company resources. Irony, right? The owners, against my recommendation, gave him an advance notice of their decision and let him stay for an entire day in his office without any supervision, etc. As I didn't trust him, I was monitoring his activity very closely. I discovered that he was copying a large amount of data from our servers and deleting it. Additionally, he was cleaning out his contacts and other client-related information, not personal. He was copying all of this to a USB drive. On the final day, the owners took him to lunch right before he was going to leave. I took the opportunity to return all the data he took. I had backups which I was going to restore. However, I didn't want him to walk away with stuff that didn't belong to him. Finally, a couple of very incriminating emails accidentally got forwarded to his wife. He was cheating on her for months and was talking to this other chick about ditching her and screwing her out of the house and stuff and leave her with the kids. Not sure how that worked out, but hopefully for the better. Guy was a bit of a scumbag. In regards to the emails, no, I was not snooping his private stuff. They were in his work account, and when I was removing the items he took, they were discovered. One had vacation pics of the happy cheating couple as well. Ha! Thank you for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.